The phone rang at 3 in the morning, the sound cutting through Tasha Morgan's restless sleep like a knife. She knew before answering. Bill collectors didn't respect human hours. Neither did hospitals when the payment was 60 days overdue. Ms. Morgan, this is County General Hospital Financial Services. Your mother's chemotherapy treatment scheduled for tomorrow has been canceled due to outstanding balance. Unless you can provide payment of $47,000 by 9 a.m., we cannot proceed with her care. Tasha sat up in the darkness of her bedroom, the phone pressed so hard against her ear it hurt. $47,000. She had $312 in her checking account. Her credit cards were maxed out. She'd already borrowed from everyone she knew. Please, Tasha whispered, her voice breaking. My mother will die without that treatment. You've seen her charts. The cancer is aggressive. Every week we delay. I understand, Ms. Morgan. But hospital policy is clear. We've extended as much credit as we can. I'm sorry. The line went dead. Tasha sat in the dark, her phone still clutched in her hand, and felt the walls closing in. She was 26 years old, working 2 jobs as a medical office assistant during the day and a grocery store cashier at night. Her younger sister Nia worked 3 jobs to help, running herself into the ground at age 22. Their mother Beverly had raised them alone after their father died when Tasha was 8. Beverly had worked as a nurse for 30 years, caring for other people, never complaining, never asking for help. Now she was dying and Tasha couldn't save her. The sound that came from Tasha's throat was something between a sob and a scream. She pressed her fist against her mouth to keep from waking Nia, who was asleep on the couch in their tiny 2-bedroom apartment because she'd worked until midnight and would be up again at 5 for her morning shift at the coffee shop. Tasha's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Ms. Morgan, my name is Lucas Reynolds. I represent Gabriel Thornton of Thornton Industries. We have a business proposition that would solve your financial difficulties. Please call me at this number immediately, regardless of the hour. Time is critical. Tasha stared at the message. Gabriel Thornton. She'd seen his name in the news 6 months ago. Billionaire CEO nearly killed in a car bombing. Paralyzed. Confined to a wheelchair. The business world had moved on quickly, writing him off as another casualty of corporate warfare. This was probably a scam. People preyed on desperate families all the time. But Tasha's fingers were already dialing the number because what did she have to lose? Ms. Morgan, thank you for calling. The voice was professional, crisp, male. I know this seems unusual. I'm going to be direct because you don't have time for games. Mr. Thornton requires a caretaker and a wife. The arrangement would be contractual. In exchange for your services, you would receive $5 million deposited into your account immediately upon signing, plus full medical coverage for your mother at the country's best cancer treatment center, plus a monthly stipend of $50,000 for living expenses. The contract term is 1 year, renewable if both parties agree. Tasha's heart hammered against her ribs. Why me? Mr. Thornton's team has been monitoring financial hardship cases in the area. Your situation fits specific criteria. You're educated, responsible, caring for family members, and drowning in medical debt through no fault of your own. Mr. Thornton believes people in your position make the most reliable employees because you understand the value of the opportunity. This is insane. Yes, Lucas agreed. But it's also real. I'm sending you an address. Be there at 10 a.m. today. Meet Mr. Thornton. Review the contract. If you agree, sign. Your mother's treatment will be fully paid for by noon. If you decline, you walk away, no obligations. But I should mention that Mr. Thornton has identified 3 other candidates. If you say no, we call them next. The text came through. An address in the wealthiest part of the city, where Tasha had never been except to clean offices after hours during a brief stint with a janitorial service. I'll be there, Tasha heard herself say. Have you ever been so desperate that you'd marry a stranger to save someone you love? Have you ever stood at the edge of impossible choices and jumped anyway? Drop a comment below and tell me what you would do in Tasha's position. And if this story is hitting you in the chest, hit that subscribe button because this is just the beginning. Tasha stood outside the iron gates at 9:55 a.m., staring up at the mansion beyond. 3 stories of pale stone and huge windows, surrounded by perfectly manicured gardens. A fountain splashed in the circular driveway. This was the kind of place you saw in movies, not real life. The gates swung open silently. A man in a dark suit stood by the front door, watching her approach. Lucas Reynolds, she assumed. He was middle-aged, professional, with the kind of calm demeanor that came from handling crises daily. Ms. Morgan. Right on time. Please come in. The inside of the mansion was even more intimidating than the outside. Marble floors. Crystal chandeliers. Artwork that probably cost more than Tasha would earn in her entire life. She followed Lucas through the foyer, down a wide hallway, past rooms filled with furniture that looked too expensive to sit on. They stopped at a set of double doors. Lucas knocked once, then opened them. "Mr. Thornton, Ms. Morgan has arrived." The room was an office or maybe a library. Floor-to-ceiling bookshelves lined two walls. A massive desk sat near the windows. And in the middle of the room, facing away from her, was a wheelchair. Lucas gestured for Tasha to enter, then closed the doors behind her, leaving her alone. The wheelchair turned slowly. Tasha's breath caught. Gabriel Thornton was younger than she'd expected, maybe late 30s. His face was sharp angles and hard lines, with dark eyes that seemed to see straight through her. His hair was black with threads of silver at the temples. He wore a dark blue shirt and black pants, his hands resting on the arms of his wheelchair. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. He just looked at her with an expression she couldn't read. "Mr. Thornton," Tasha said, her voice steadier than she felt. "I'm Tasha Morgan. Lucas said you wanted to meet me." Still nothing. Just that intense stare. Tasha felt her spine stiffen. She'd come here desperate, yes, but she wasn't going to be treated like she was invisible. "If you don't want to talk to me, I can leave. But I took the morning off work to be here, and I'd appreciate at least a conversation." Something flickered in Gabriel's eyes. Interest maybe. Or surprise. He raised one hand slowly and gestured to a chair near his desk. Tasha sat. Gabriel wheeled himself closer, stopping a few feet away. This close, she could see the faint scars on his neck disappearing under his collar. Evidence of the bombing, she realized. Evidence of pain. The door opened. Lucas entered carrying a folder and a tablet. "Shall I explain the terms?" Gabriel nodded once. Lucas set the folder on the desk and opened it. "The contract is straightforward. Ms. Morgan would become Mr. Thornton's legal wife and primary caretaker. She would live in this house, attend social functions as needed, manage his personal care schedule, and provide companionship. The marriage would be real in legal terms but not romantic in nature. Ms. Morgan would have her own bedroom and complete privacy when not needed for official duties." Tasha listened, her mind racing. "And after a year?" "The contract includes a divorce clause. After 1 year, either party can choose to end the marriage. Ms. Morgan would keep all money already paid, no strings attached. If both parties agree to continue, the contract renews annually with the same terms." "What about my family?" "Your mother would be transferred immediately to Riverside Cancer Institute, the top-rated facility in the country. All treatments fully covered, no limits. Your sister Nia's student loans would be paid in full, and she'd receive a monthly stipend for living expenses so she can focus on school. You would have unlimited phone and video access to them, and they could visit here whenever they wish." Tasha felt tears burning behind her eyes. This was impossible. People didn't just appear with magical solutions to desperate problems. "Why?" she asked, looking directly at Gabriel. "Why would you do this?" Gabriel's jaw tightened. He reached for the tablet, typed something, then turned it to face her. The words appeared in clear text. "Because I know what it's like to need help and have everyone turn away. Because kindness matters. Because I can." Tasha read the words twice. She thought about her mother's gray face yesterday, the way Beverly had smiled weakly and told her not to worry. She thought about Nia falling asleep standing up during her shift at the grocery store, so exhausted she could barely function. She thought about the bill collectors, the mounting debt, the crushing weight of trying and failing to save the person she loved most. "Where do I sign?" Tasha asked. Lucas pulled out a pen. "Are you certain, Ms. Morgan? You should read the full contract first." "How long would that take?" "An hour, perhaps. My mother's treatment was supposed to start today. Every hour matters. I trust that you're not trying to trap me into something horrible, because if you were, you wouldn't be offering me an escape after 1 year. Give me the pen." Lucas glanced at Gabriel, who nodded. Lucas handed Tasha the pen. She flipped through the pages, scanning the major points. It was all there, clearly written. $5 million deposited immediately. Medical care for Beverly. Financial support for Nia. 1-year term, renewable by mutual agreement. Divorce clause with no penalties. Tasha signed her name on the final page. Gabriel wheeled forward and signed his name below hers, his handwriting steady despite the tremor Tasha noticed in his fingers. "Done," Lucas said, taking the contract. "I'll process this immediately. Ms. Morgan, can you provide your bank account information?" Tasha pulled out her phone with shaking hands and gave him the details. Lucas stepped out of the room already making calls. She was alone with Gabriel again. He typed on his tablet and turned it toward her. Thank you. I should be thanking you, Tasha said. You just saved my mother's life. Gabriel typed again. You gave up your freedom. That deserves thanks. I didn't give up anything, Tasha said, surprised by her own honesty. I was drowning. You threw me a rope. That's not sacrifice. That's survival. Gabriel studied her for a long moment. Then he typed 3 more words. I'm glad. Lucas returned, his expression professionally pleased. Ms. Morgan, the money has been transferred. Check your account. Tasha opened her banking app with trembling fingers. The screen took a moment to load. Then the number appeared. $5,014.22. She stared at it until the numbers blurred. Your mother's transfer to Riverside has been arranged, Lucas continued. An ambulance will pick her up this afternoon. Nia's loans have been paid and her stipend account established. I've taken the liberty of packing a bag for you from your apartment using the key you provided during our background check. Your belongings will arrive this afternoon. The wedding is scheduled for Saturday at 2 p.m. here at the estate. I'll send you the details. Do you have any questions? Tasha had 1,000 questions. But only one mattered right now. Can I go see my mother? Tell her in person? Of course. I'll have the car brought around. Tasha stood. She looked at Gabriel, this stranger who had just changed her entire life with a signature and a bank transfer. Thank you, she said. I know you're doing this for your own reasons, but you're also saving 3 people. We won't forget that. Gabriel typed on his tablet. Come back tonight. This is your home now. Home. The word felt strange. But Tasha nodded. I will. She followed Lucas out, her phone clutched in her hand, her heart hammering with a mixture of terror and relief and gratitude so intense it hurt. In the car she called Nia. Tasha? What's wrong? You sound weird. Nothing's wrong. Everything's right. Nia, listen to me. Mom's going to the best cancer center in the country this afternoon. All paid for. Your student loans are gone. You can quit those extra jobs. You can focus on school. Silence. Then, what did you do? I got married. You what? I'll explain later. But trust me, okay? This is good. This is all good. I need you to be with Mom when they transfer her. Tell her I love her. Tell her I'm fixing everything. Tasha, you're scaring me. Don't be scared. Be happy. I'll call you tonight. I promise. Tasha ended the call and stared out the window as the car drove through the city. She just agreed to marry a man she didn't know, a man who couldn't speak, a man in a wheelchair, a man whose enemies had tried to kill him. She'd agreed to live in his house, carry his name, play the role of his wife in front of the world. And she didn't regret it for a single second. Because kindness had won today. Hope had won. Love had won. And Tasha was going to make sure it stayed that way. County General Hospital smelled like disinfectant and desperation. Tasha walked through the hallways with purpose now, past the nurse's station where she'd begged for payment extensions last week, past the financial services office where she'd cried yesterday. Now she had power. Now she had money. Now she could save her mother. Beverly Morgan was sitting up in bed when Tasha entered the room, her head wrapped in a bright yellow scarf she'd worn since losing her hair 3 months ago. Her face was thin, her skin gray, but her eyes lit up when she saw Tasha. Baby, what are you doing here? Don't you have work? Mom, I need to tell you something. Tasha sat on the edge of the bed and took her mother's hands. They felt so fragile like bird bones. You're being transferred to Riverside Cancer Institute this afternoon. Beverly blinked. What? Honey, we can't afford that. Yes, we can. I got a new job. A really good job. Everything's paid for. The best doctors, the best treatment, everything. Tasha, what kind of job pays for that kind of care? A complicated one. Tasha took a breath. Mom, I got married this morning. Beverly's mouth fell open. You what? His name is Gabriel Thornton. He's a businessman. He needed a wife for contractual reasons and I needed money for your treatment. It's a business arrangement, but it's legal and it's safe and it means you get to live. So I did it. Tears spilled down Beverly's cheeks. Baby, no. You can't sacrifice yourself for me. It's not a sacrifice, Tasha said firmly. And we don't have time to argue about it. The ambulance is coming in 2 hours. Nia's going to ride with you. I'll visit you at Riverside tomorrow after I get settled. But Mom, please understand. This was my choice. I'm not trapped. I'm not in danger. I'm just married to someone I don't love yet. Plenty of people do that and figure out the love part later. Yet? Beverly said, catching the word. Tasha shrugged. He's not a bad man, Mom. I can tell. He's hurt and alone and people have abandoned him. Maybe we'll become friends. Maybe more. Maybe nothing. But for right now, he's the person who saved your life and I'm grateful. Beverly pulled Tasha into a hug, holding her as tight as her weak arms could manage. You have such a good heart, baby. Always have. Just promise me you'll be careful. Promise me you'll leave if it gets bad. I promise, but I don't think it will. I'll call you tonight. Tasha stayed until Nia arrived, breathless from running straight from work. Nia had their father's height and their mother's smile, and right now she looked terrified and confused and relieved all at once. Tell me everything, Nia demanded. Later, Tasha said. Right now just take care of Mom. I'll explain when I see you tomorrow. She hugged them both and left before her courage could crack. The car Lucas had sent was waiting outside. The driver, an older man who introduced himself as Mr. Peterson, asked politely about her day and didn't pry when she gave vague answers. They drove back to the mansion, through gates that swung open at their approach, past gardens that probably required a full-time staff to maintain. Lucas met her at the door. Your room is ready, Miss Morgan? Or should I say Mrs. Thornton? The name hit her like a physical thing. Mrs. Thornton. She was married. This was real. Tasha is fine, she said. Of course. Follow me, please. He led her upstairs, down a hallway lined with closed doors and oil paintings of people she didn't recognize. They stopped at a door near the end. Lucas opened it and gestured her inside. The room was bigger than her entire apartment. A massive bed with a green bedspread dominated one side. Floor-to-ceiling windows looked out over the gardens. There was a sitting area with a couch and chairs, a desk, a television, and 3 doors that opened to reveal a bathroom, a walk-in closet, and a small private balcony. Mr. Thornton's room is down the hall, Lucas said. You'll have complete privacy unless he needs assistance. His physical therapist Donna arrives daily at 8 a.m. and leaves at noon. His nurse checks in twice weekly. You'll meet them both tomorrow. Evening care duties would fall to you, but only what you're comfortable with. Mr. Thornton is not helpless, but there are tasks that require assistance. What happened to his previous caretaker? Lucas's expression flickered, just for a moment. Mr. Thornton has gone through several caretakers since the accident. Most were uncomfortable with the situation or treated him as less capable than he is. He found it degrading and dismissed them. So this marriage thing is because he's tired of hiring strangers who don't respect him? Partially. But there are also legal and business reasons. Mr. Thornton's company is under attack from several board members who believe he's no longer capable of leading. A stable home life, a supportive spouse, these things demonstrate stability and competence. Your presence strengthens his position. Tasha walked to the window and looked out at the gardens. The afternoon sun made everything glow. She could see a pool in the distance, a tennis court, what looked like a greenhouse. Wealth beyond imagining, all belonging to a man trapped in a wheelchair. Where is he now? In his study. He works most days managing the company remotely. Dinner is at 7. You'll eat together when his schedule allows. He prefers simple meals, nothing elaborate. The kitchen staff will prepare whatever you like. Kitchen staff. Mrs. Chin is the head cook. She lives in the staff quarters with her husband, who manages the grounds. There's also a housekeeper, Brenda, who comes 3 times a week. And of course Mr. Peterson, the driver, and myself. We're all aware of the nature of your marriage and we're here to help make this arrangement work smoothly. It was surreal. Tasha had gone from struggling to pay rent to living in a mansion with staff. Thank you, Lucas. For everything. It's my job, Mrs. Thornton. But you're welcome. He paused at the door. For what it's worth, I think you'll be good for him. He needs someone who sees him as a person, not a problem. After Lucas left, Tasha sat on the enormous bed and let herself feel the full weight of the day. Married. $5 million in her bank account. Her mother on the way to the best cancer center in the country. Nia's debt erased. All of it real, all of it impossible, all of it happening. Her phone buzzed. A text from Nia. Mom's settled at Riverside. The doctors here are amazing. She's already scheduled for a full workup tomorrow. Tasha, what did you do? Tasha typed back, what I had to. I'll explain tomorrow. Love you. At 6:30 there was a knock on her door. Tasha opened it to find a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and gray hair pulled back in a bun. Mrs. Thornton? I'm Mrs. Chin. I wanted to introduce myself and ask if you have any dietary restrictions or preferences for dinner. Oh, please call me Tasha. And no, I eat everything. Thank you for asking. Wonderful. We're having grilled chicken with roasted vegetables tonight. Mr. Thornton usually eats in the dining room, but if you prefer, I can bring a tray to your room. I'll eat with him, Tasha said. Is that okay? Mrs. Chin smiled warmly. Of course. He'll be pleased. He doesn't like eating alone, but he won't admit it. Tasha changed into clean clothes, simple jeans and a red blouse she'd packed this morning in her old life. Then she went downstairs, following the sounds of dishes being arranged. The dining room was formal but not ostentatious. A long table, high-backed chairs, a chandelier that cast warm light over everything. Gabriel was already seated at the head of the table, his wheelchair positioned where the chair had been removed. He looked up when Tasha entered and she thought she saw surprise flash across his face. Hi, Tasha said, taking the seat to his right. Mrs. Chin said dinner's almost ready. I hope it's okay that I'm joining you. Gabriel reached for his tablet and typed. You live here now. You can do whatever you want. I know. But this is your home. I don't want to intrude on your space if you need privacy. Gabriel studied her for a moment, then typed again. Most people avoid me. You're different. Most people are idiots, Tasha said bluntly. You're in a wheelchair, not a coma. You deserve to be treated like a human being. Something shifted in Gabriel's expression, a softening around his eyes. He nodded slowly. Mrs. Chin arrived with dinner, setting plates in front of them with practiced ease. The food smelled incredible. Tasha realized she hadn't eaten since yesterday. They ate in comfortable silence for a few minutes. Then Gabriel typed on his tablet and turned it toward her. How is your mother? Good. She's at Riverside now. Nia said the doctors are already planning her treatment. She was crying when I left her, but happy tears. Thank you for that. You earned it. By signing a paper? That's not earning anything. Gabriel typed carefully. You gave up your freedom. You married a stranger. You're living in his house, taking care of him, putting your life on hold. That's worth far more than money. Tasha set down her fork. Can I ask you something personal? Gabriel nodded. Why did someone try to kill you? His jaw tightened. He typed slowly. Business enemies. People who wanted my company. They planted a bomb in my car. I survived barely. Spent 3 months in the hospital. They said I'd never walk again. Everyone assumed I was finished. Are you? Gabriel's eyes locked on hers. He typed 3 words. Not even close. The intensity in his gaze made Tasha's breath catch. This was not a broken man. This was a man planning something, waiting for something, hiding something behind his silence and his wheelchair. Good, Tasha said. Because from where I'm sitting, giving up is not your style. Gabriel almost smiled. Almost. Then he went back to his dinner. After they ate, Tasha helped Mrs. Chen clear the dishes despite her protests. Then she went upstairs, exhausted beyond words. Her new bedroom felt huge and empty. She called Nia and talked for an hour, explaining the contract, the marriage, Gabriel's condition, everything. Nia was skeptical but supportive. Just be careful, Nia said. Rich people don't give away millions for nothing. I know. But so far, everyone's kept their promises. Mom's getting treatment. You're debt-free. That's what matters. What about you, Tasha? What do you matter? I matter too, Tasha said softly. But right now, this is where I need to be. After the call, she lay in her enormous bed and stared at the ceiling. Today she'd become Tasha Thornton, wife of a billionaire, caretaker of a man she barely knew. Tomorrow the real work would begin. But tonight, for the first time in months, she fell asleep without fear crushing her chest. Tonight hope was winning. And that was enough. Saturday morning arrived with pale sunlight streaming through Tasha's bedroom windows. She'd been living in the mansion for 4 days now, and the routine was starting to feel almost normal. Wake up, join Gabriel for breakfast, watch Donna work with him on physical therapy exercises, spend the afternoon reading or video chatting with her mother and Nia, dinner with Gabriel, evenings alone in her room. Gabriel remained distant but not unkind. He communicated through his tablet, rarely showing emotion beyond slight frowns or occasional nods. Tasha had learned to read his body language, the way his shoulders tensed when he was frustrated, the way his fingers drummed on his wheelchair's armrest when he was thinking. He was brilliant, that much was obvious from the business calls she overheard. He ran his company from his study, typing commands faster than most people could talk, making decisions that affected thousands of employees. But today was different. Today was their wedding. The contract signing had made them legally married, but Lucas had explained that a formal ceremony was necessary for appearances. Gabriel's board members needed to see stability. His enemies needed to see strength. And so they would have a wedding with witnesses and photographs and all the trappings of normalcy. Tasha stood in front of her closet, staring at the dress Lucas had arranged to be delivered yesterday. It was beautiful, a simple red silk gown that fell to her ankles, elegant without being ostentatious. Red because Lucas said Gabriel preferred bold colors to traditional white. Red because it made Tasha feel confident instead of fraudulent. She dressed carefully, applied minimal makeup, left her natural curls loose around her shoulders. When she looked in the mirror, she saw a woman who looked nothing like the exhausted, desperate person from 6 days ago. Money hadn't changed her face, but hope had. There was a knock on her door at 1:30. "Come in," Tasha called. Lucas entered, looking professional in a dark suit. "You look lovely, Mrs. Thornton. Are you ready?" "As I'll ever be." "Where's Gabriel?" "Waiting in the garden. The ceremony will be outdoors, just as he requested." Tasha followed Lucas downstairs and through the French doors that led to the gardens. A small gathering space had been set up near the fountain, with chairs arranged in neat rows and an arch covered in white flowers. Maybe 20 people were already seated. Business associates, Tasha assumed. People Gabriel needed to convince. And there, near the arch, was Gabriel in his wheelchair. He wore a dark blue suit that fit him perfectly, making him look powerful despite his circumstances. His expression was unreadable as always, but when his eyes found Tasha walking toward him, something flickered across his face. Approval maybe. Or gratitude. The officiant was a judge Gabriel knew personally, an older woman named Margaret who smiled warmly at Tasha as she took her place beside Gabriel's wheelchair. "Friends and colleagues," Judge Margaret began, "we gather today to witness the marriage of Gabriel Thornton and Tasha Morgan. This is a union built on mutual respect, support, and partnership. Gabriel and Tasha have chosen each other as companions through both challenges and triumphs. Their commitment to one another strengthens them both." The words felt hollow and true at the same time. Hollow because this wasn't a love match. True because Tasha did respect Gabriel, did want to support him, did see their arrangement as a partnership of sorts. "Gabriel," Judge Margaret said, "do you take Tasha to be your lawfully wedded wife, to honor and cherish in accordance with the commitments you've made to each other?" Gabriel reached for his tablet and typed, his fingers steady. Judge Margaret read aloud, "I do." "Tasha, do you take Gabriel to be your lawfully wedded husband, to honor and cherish in accordance with the commitments you've made to each other?" "I do," Tasha said clearly. "Then by the power vested in me by the state, I pronounce you husband and wife." Applause rippled through the small audience. Gabriel typed something on his tablet and showed it to Judge Margaret, who smiled. Gabriel would like to add that he's grateful to have found a partner who sees him as an equal. Tasha felt unexpected emotion sting her eyes. She looked down at Gabriel, this complicated, wounded man, and said, "The feeling is mutual." The photographer took pictures. People came forward to congratulate them, shaking Gabriel's hand, telling Tasha how lovely she looked. Most of them were cordial but distant, clearly uncertain how to interact with this unusual couple. A few seemed genuinely happy, including an older man named Harrison Wells who introduced himself as Gabriel's lawyer and friend. "You've done him good already," Harrison said quietly to Tasha. "I've known Gabriel for 15 years, and this is the most engaged he's been since the accident. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." After the ceremony, there was a small reception in the garden. Mrs. Chin had prepared elegant appetizers and a simple but beautiful cake. Tasha stood beside Gabriel's wheelchair, playing the role of devoted wife, accepting congratulations and making small talk with people whose names she'd forget by tomorrow. But there was one couple Tasha wouldn't forget. They arrived late, making a grand entrance through the garden gate. The man was tall and slim with calculating eyes and a smile that didn't reach past his teeth. The woman beside him was striking, with sharp features and expensive jewelry that sparkled in the afternoon sun. They approached Gabriel with the kind of confidence that came from feeling superior. "Gabriel, what a surprise," the man said, his tone dripping with false concern. "We didn't expect you to be hosting events so soon after your tragedy." Gabriel's jaw tightened. He typed on his tablet. Lucas, who was standing nearby, read aloud, "Victor, Patricia. Thank you for coming." So these were the vultures. Tasha had heard Gabriel on phone calls this week, arguing with board members about company direction. These names had come up repeatedly. Victor Chin, Gabriel's former business partner. Patricia Thornton, Gabriel's cousin. Both of them pushing to have Gabriel removed as CEO. "And you must be the new wife," Patricia said, looking Tasha up and down with barely concealed disdain. "How charming. I suppose Gabriel needs someone to push his wheelchair around now." Tasha felt anger flash hot in her chest, but she kept her expression pleasant. Tasha Thornton. It's nice to meet you. Gabriel's told me so much about you. Gabriel hadn't actually told her anything since he rarely typed more than necessary, but Patricia didn't need to know that. I'm sure he has, Victor said smoothly. Gabriel was always sentimental. It's one of his weaknesses. In business, you can't afford to be soft. Is that why you tried to take over his company while he was in the hospital? Tasha asked sweetly. The garden went quiet. Victor's smile froze. Patricia's eyes narrowed. Excuse me? Victor said. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I misunderstand? Gabriel mentioned there were some board members who thought his injury made him unfit to lead. I assumed you weren't part of that group, since you're here celebrating his wedding. But if you are part of that group, I'm confused why you'd attend. Harrison Wells, standing a few feet away, made a sound that might have been a suppressed laugh. Gabriel's hand moved to his tablet, but he didn't type anything, just watched the confrontation with something that looked like satisfaction. Patricia stepped forward, her voice low and sharp. You have no idea what you've walked into, little girl. Gabriel's company is worth billions. You think marrying him gives you any say in how it runs? You're just decoration. A caretaker with a ring. Don't mistake your role. I don't mistake anything, Tasha said calmly. And I'm not decoration. I'm his wife. Which means I have every legal right to support him however he needs. If that makes you uncomfortable, you're welcome to leave. Victor's expression turned cold. You'll regret this conversation. I doubt it, Tasha said. But thanks for the warning. They walked away stiffly. The moment they were out of earshot, several people nearby began whispering. Harrison approached, grinning openly now. That was magnificent, he said to Tasha. Gabriel, I like her. You should keep this one. Gabriel typed on his tablet. Harrison read, I plan to. The reception continued for another hour. Tasha met more business associates, shook more hands, smiled until her face hurt. But she was aware of Victor and Patricia watching from across the garden, their expressions calculating and cold. She'd made enemies today. Powerful ones. But she couldn't bring herself to regret it. After the guests left, Gabriel and Tasha sat together by the fountain. The sun was setting, painting the sky pink and orange. Mrs. Chin had brought them each a glass of champagne, though Gabriel could barely hold his without his hand shaking. That was exhausting, Tasha said. Do you always have to deal with people like that? Gabriel typed slowly. Every day. Welcome to my world. Your cousin and your former partner both want you gone. Yes. They're going to make trouble. Yes. Good, Tasha said, surprising herself. I like trouble. Means things are interesting. Gabriel looked at her with something that might have been amusement. He typed, you stood up to them. No one does that. Someone should. They're bullies. Bullies need to be called out. You made enemies. So did you when you survived. At least we're in it together now. Gabriel stared at her for a long moment. Then he typed carefully, why did you really take this job? And don't say just the money. You could have negotiated for the medical coverage without the marriage. Why agree to all of it? Tasha considered her answer. Because you were honest about what it was. A business arrangement, but one with respect built in. You didn't lie to me. You didn't pretend it was something it wasn't. And because I saw the way people look at you, like you're already dead, and I thought that must be the loneliest thing in the world. Nobody should be that alone. Gabriel's eyes glistened just for a second. He looked away toward the sunset and didn't type anything else. They sat in comfortable silence until the sky went dark and the garden lights came on automatically. Then Lucas appeared to help Gabriel inside, and Tasha went upstairs to her room. She changed out of the red dress and into comfortable clothes, then sat on her balcony and called her mother. Beverly was recovering well from her first round of intensive treatment. The doctors at Riverside were optimistic. Nia visited daily and reported that their mother's color was improving, her appetite returning. How was the wedding? Beverly asked. Strange, Tasha admitted. But okay. Gabriel's dealing with some difficult people trying to take his company. I might have made things worse by defending him. That's my girl, Beverly said proudly. Never could keep quiet when someone was being mistreated. Your father was the same way. I miss him, Mom. I know, baby. He'd be proud of you. Taking care of your family, standing up for your husband. That takes courage. After the call, Tasha sat in the dark and thought about that word. Husband. Gabriel was her husband now, officially and publicly. They'd stood together in front of witnesses and made promises, however transactional those promises might be. But something had shifted today. When Patricia had insulted Gabriel, Tasha's anger had been real and immediate. When Victor had threatened her, she'd felt protective, not just of herself but of Gabriel. This arrangement was supposed to be purely business, but feelings didn't follow contracts. She was starting to care about him. And that scared her more than any threat from Victor or Patricia ever could. The days after the wedding settled into a rhythm that felt almost domestic. Tasha woke early, joined Gabriel for breakfast in the sunroom where morning light streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows. They didn't talk much. Gabriel typed occasional comments about the news or asked about her mother's progress. Tasha responded and ate her eggs and toast, comfortable with the silence between them. She'd learned that Gabriel hated pity but appreciated practical help. When his hand shook too much to hold his coffee mug steady, she didn't make a fuss, just quietly switched it for a cup with handles he could grip better. When he struggled to reach something on a high shelf in his study, she retrieved it without commenting on his limitations. These small adjustments made their coexistence smoother, less awkward. Donna, the physical therapist, arrived precisely at 8 every morning. She was a sturdy woman in her 40s with strong hands and a no-nonsense attitude. Tasha usually stayed out of the way during these sessions, but today Donna called her into the therapy room. "Mrs. Thornton, could you assist me for a moment?" The therapy room was on the first floor, converted from what had probably once been a parlor. Now it held exercise equipment, parallel bars, mats and medical supplies. Gabriel was standing between the parallel bars, his face tight with concentration and pain, his arms trembling with the effort of supporting his weight. "I need you to stand in front of him," Donna said. "Just within reach. Sometimes having a focal point helps with balance exercises." Tasha positioned herself where Donna indicated, maybe 3 feet in front of Gabriel. Up close like this, she could see the sweat beading on his forehead, the way his jaw clenched with determination. "Good," Donna said. "Gabriel, I want you to take 3 steps forward. Use the bars for support but try to put more weight through your legs. Mrs. Thornton will catch you if you stumble." Gabriel's eyes locked on Tasha's. She saw frustration there and pride and something that looked like fear. Fear of falling maybe. Or fear of being seen as weak. "You've got this," Tasha said quietly. "I'm right here." Gabriel took 1 step. His right leg shook but held. Then a second step, slower, his breathing harsh and labored. On the 3rd step his left knee buckled. Tasha moved forward instantly, catching him before he could fall, her arms around his waist, his weight suddenly heavy against her. For a moment they stood frozen, Tasha supporting him, Gabriel's face inches from hers. She could feel his heart hammering, could see the frustration and shame in his eyes. "I've got you," she said softly. "It's okay." Donna helped them ease Gabriel back into his wheelchair. He immediately reached for his tablet, his fingers shaking with exhaustion or anger or both. "That's enough for today," Donna said firmly. "You pushed hard. Be proud of the progress." Gabriel typed something but didn't turn the tablet to show anyone. Donna gave Tasha a meaningful look and left them alone. Tasha pulled up a chair and sat facing Gabriel. "Want to talk about it?" He typed, "Nothing to talk about." "You're frustrated." "Obviously." "Donna says you're making progress. She told me yesterday that you're regaining strength faster than most patients with your level of injury." Gabriel typed bitterly, "Fast enough to stand for 30 seconds before collapsing like a baby learning to walk. Babies learning to walk fall down 100 times before they figure it out. And nobody judges them for it. Why are you judging yourself?" "Because I'm not a baby. I'm a grown man who used to run 10 miles every morning. I used to play tennis, swim, box. Now I can barely walk 3 steps without help." Tasha leaned forward. 6 months ago they said you'd never walk again. 3 months ago you couldn't sit up without assistance. 2 months ago you couldn't stand at all. Today you took 3 steps. That's not failure. That's a miracle." Gabriel stared at her, his expression unreadable. Then he typed, "Why are you so determined to make me feel better?" "Because someone needs to. And because you're working so hard to get better. That deserves to be acknowledged. I'm not working hard for noble reasons. I'm working hard because I want to destroy the people who did this to me. I want to stand up at a board meeting and watch Victor's face when he realizes I'm not broken. That's revenge, not inspiration." "I don't care about your reasons," Tasha said honestly. "Revenge, spite, pure stubbornness, whatever gets you out of that wheelchair is fine with me. Results matter more than motivation." Gabriel almost smiled. Almost. Then he typed, "You're strange." "Thank you. I try." This time he definitely smiled, just a brief curve of his lips before his expression went neutral again. "You know what gets me about this story? It's not just about a marriage contract or a business deal. It's about 2 people who refuse to give up, even when the whole world has written them off. If you're feeling this, drop a comment and tell me about a time you surprised everyone by being stronger than they thought. And smash that subscribe button because this story is about to get wild. That evening, Tasha was in Gabriel's study looking for a book he'd mentioned. He worked at his desk while she browsed the shelves, running her fingers along leather spines and hardcover novels. The study was the most personal room in the house, filled with books, framed photographs of younger Gabriel in various locations around the world, and filing cabinets that probably held business secrets worth millions. "Can I ask you something?" Tasha said, pulling down a book about architectural history. Gabriel nodded, his eyes still on his computer screen. "Why did you choose me specifically? Lucas said you had other candidates. What made you pick me?" Gabriel stopped typing. He turned his wheelchair to face her and picked up his tablet. "Your background check showed determination. You were working 2 jobs, caring for your mother and supporting your sister. You never gave up even when you had every reason to. That's the kind of person I needed. So you wanted someone stubborn. I wanted someone who understands that life isn't fair but you fight anyway. Someone who doesn't quit. Someone who..." He paused, typing slowly. "Someone who would see me as a person, not a project." "You are a person," Tasha said. "A difficult, stubborn, occasionally grumpy person. But definitely a person." Gabriel's expression softened slightly. "You're not what I expected." "What did you expect?" "Someone timid. Someone who would take the money and stay out of my way. Someone who would treat this like a job and nothing more." "Is that what you wanted?" "That's what I thought I wanted. But it's not what I needed." The admission hung in the air between them. Tasha set the book on Gabriel's desk and sat in the chair across from him. "Can I tell you something?" "Yes." "I was terrified when I came here. I thought you might be cruel or controlling or that this whole thing was some kind of trap. But you're not any of those things. You're just lonely and hurt and angry at the world. I understand that. I felt that way too. When my dad died. I was 8 years old. He had a heart attack at work, just collapsed and died. No warning, no goodbye. One day I had a father who taught me how to ride a bike and made me pancakes on Sundays. The next day he was gone and my mom was crying and Nia was too little to understand why everything changed. I was so angry. Angry at my dad for leaving us, angry at the world for being unfair, angry at everyone who still had their fathers. That anger lasted for years. What changed? My mom. She was grieving too, but she got up every morning and went to work and took care of us and never complained. She showed me that you can be angry and still move forward. You can be hurt and still help people. You can lose everything and still find reasons to keep going. She taught me that giving up is a choice and we don't make that choice in our family." Gabriel typed carefully. "Your mother sounds extraordinary." "She is. And that's why I married you. Not just for the money, though that mattered. But because helping her taught me that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is accept help. Sometimes strength looks like saying yes when pride wants you to say no. You helped my family. Now I help you. That's how it works." Gabriel studied her for a long moment. Then he typed, "I'm glad you said yes." "Me too." They worked in comfortable silence for the rest of the evening. Tasha read her book while Gabriel typed away at his computer, managing his company from behind a screen. The quiet felt companionable rather than awkward. Around 9, Gabriel's phone rang. He answered it on speaker, and Tasha recognized Harrison Wells' voice. "Gabriel, we have a problem. Victor called an emergency board meeting for Friday. He's pushing a motion to have you declared medically incompetent to run the company." Gabriel's jaw tightened. He typed rapidly and the computer's voice read his words aloud. "On what grounds?" "He's got doctors willing to testify that your injuries prevent you from fulfilling CEO duties. He's arguing that your marriage was a desperate attempt to appear stable but that you're really deteriorating. He's got board members lined up to support him." Tasha felt anger rise in her chest. She leaned forward. "Can he actually do that? Mrs. Thornton? I didn't realize you were there." "Yes, unfortunately he can call for a competency hearing. If the board votes in his favor, Gabriel would be removed as CEO and Victor would take over." "That's not happening," Tasha said firmly. "What do we need to do?" Harrison paused. "We need to demonstrate that Gabriel is fully capable of running the company. He needs to attend the meeting in person and present a compelling case that he's still the right person to lead." Gabriel typed, "I'll be there." "Gabriel, are you sure? It'll be contentious. Victor will try to humiliate you." "I'll be there," Gabriel typed again. "And I won't be alone. My wife will be with me." Tasha met Gabriel's eyes and nodded. "Absolutely. They want a fight, we'll give them one." After Harrison hung up, Gabriel typed, You don't have to do this. The contract doesn't require you to attend business meetings. I know. But we're a team now. And Victor made this personal when he insulted you at our wedding. I want to be there when you prove him wrong. Gabriel's expression was unreadable, but his eyes held something that looked like gratitude mixed with surprise. He typed slowly, "Thank you." That night, Tasha lay in bed thinking about the board meeting. She didn't know much about corporate politics, but she understood bullies. Victor was trying to take advantage of Gabriel's vulnerability, trying to use his injury as a weapon against him. People like that counted on their victims being too weak or too proud to fight back. But Gabriel wasn't weak. And Tasha had learned long ago that sometimes the best response to a bully was to stand up and refuse to back down, no matter how scary it seemed. She fell asleep planning, strategizing, preparing for a fight that was about more than just business. This was about dignity and respect and refusing to let cruel people win. And Tasha Morgan Thornton had never been good at losing. The next morning, Tasha found Gabriel in his study before sunrise, already dressed in a dark green button-down shirt and black slacks, his wheelchair positioned in front of multiple computer monitors displaying financial reports and company data. "Did you sleep at all?" she asked from the doorway. Gabriel glanced up, typed quickly. "No. Too much to prepare. Board meeting is in 4 days." Tasha crossed the room and looked at the screens. Numbers and charts and legal documents filled every monitor. "Can I help?" "You don't know corporate finance." "No, but I know how to research and organize information." "Put me to work." Gabriel studied her for a moment, then typed, "Harrison is coming this afternoon. We're reviewing evidence. You can help with that." "Evidence of what?" Gabriel's expression darkened. He typed carefully as if choosing each word with precision. "Evidence that Victor and Patricia tried to kill me." Tasha felt her blood run cold. "You know it was them?" "I've known since I woke up in the hospital. But knowing and proving are different things. I've been gathering evidence for 6 months. Now it's time to use it." "Gabriel, if they tried to kill you once, they might try again. I'm counting on them trying. That's when they'll make mistakes." The calm way he said it made Tasha's stomach turn. "You're using yourself as bait." "I'm using myself as the trap. There's a difference." Tasha pulled up a chair and sat facing him. "Tell me everything. If I'm walking into a war zone on Friday, I need to know what we're fighting." Gabriel set aside his work and gave her his full attention. He typed steadily for several minutes, and Tasha read the words as they appeared. "My company started 15 years ago with 3 people. Me, Victor, and my college friend Jonathan Blake. We built software for corporate security systems. Within 5 years we were worth $50 million. Within 10, $500 million. Jonathan died 3 years ago, cancer. That left me and Victor as equal partners. But I was CEO and Victor wanted that position. He thought I was too soft, too focused on employee welfare instead of pure profit. We argued constantly. Then 2 years ago, I discovered Victor had been embezzling money through fake vendor contracts. I confronted him. He denied everything. I was gathering evidence to have him arrested when the bomb happened." Tasha felt sick. "He tried to kill you to avoid prison. And to take control of the company. With me dead, Victor would inherit my shares per our original partnership agreement. He'd own the entire company and all evidence of his crimes would disappear. But I survived. So now he's trying to have me declared incompetent, which would give him temporary control. Once he has that, evidence will mysteriously vanish and I'll conveniently have another accident." "What about Patricia? How is she involved?" "Patricia is my cousin, but we've never been close. She works in the company's financial department. She helped Victor set up the fake vendor accounts in exchange for a cut of the money. She also stands to inherit a portion of my estate if I die without children. Together, they have motive and opportunity. And the board members who support them? Some are being bribed. Some are true believers in Victor's leadership. Some are just cowards who want to back the winning side. Friday's meeting will determine who has enough courage to stand with me." Tasha absorbed all of this, her mind racing. "What's your plan?" Gabriel's eyes gleamed with something dangerous. "Expose them publicly at the meeting. Present the evidence. Let them dig their own graves while the board watches. Then hand everything to the federal investigators Harrison has already contacted." "That's risky. What if the board votes to remove you before you can present evidence?" "Then we move to Plan B." "Which is?" Gabriel smiled, a sharp, predatory expression that reminded Tasha he hadn't built a billion-dollar company by being passive. "Scorched earth. I tank the stock price, trigger poison pill provisions in the company charter, and make sure Victor inherits a smoking crater instead of an empire." If I can't have my company, neither can he. That's insane. That's business. They worked together all morning reviewing documents Harrison had prepared. Financial records showing money moving through fake accounts. Emails between Victor and Patricia discussing the embezzlement. Security footage from the parking garage where Gabriel's car had been parked before the bombing. Witness statements from employees who'd seen Victor acting suspiciously that day. The evidence was damning. But Gabriel was right. Presenting it at exactly the right moment was crucial. Too early and Victor would have time to fabricate explanations. Too late and the board might vote before hearing the truth. Harrison arrived at noon, carrying 3 briefcases full of additional documentation. He was a sharp-featured man in his 60s with gray hair and the kind of steady competence that came from 40 years of legal battles. "Mrs. Thornton," he said warmly, shaking Tasha's hand. "Thank you for supporting Gabriel through this. He needs allies right now." They spread documents across Gabriel's desk and the conference table in his study, creating a timeline of Victor's crimes. Tasha made herself useful by organizing papers, creating visual aids, and asking questions that helped clarify the evidence. "The prosecutors are ready to move once we present this at the board meeting," Harrison explained. "They've been investigating Victor for 6 months based on Gabriel's initial evidence. Friday's meeting is the trap. Victor will think he's won and that's when we spring it." "What if he doesn't show up?" Tasha asked. "He'll show up," Gabriel typed. "His ego won't let him miss the moment he destroys me." Around 3 in the afternoon the doorbell rang. Lucas answered it, and moments later Patricia Thornton walked into the study uninvited, her expression cold and calculating. "Well, isn't this cozy?" Patricia said, looking around at the documents spread everywhere. "Planning your defense, Gabriel? It won't help. The board's already made up their minds." Gabriel typed, "You're not welcome here. Leave." "I'll leave when I'm ready. This is still partially my family's estate after all. I have just as much right to be here as your little purchased wife." Tasha stood, anger flashing through her. "You need to leave now." Patricia laughed. "Or what? You'll call security? Don't make me laugh. You're nothing." A temporary inconvenience Gabriel hired to make himself look stable. "Everyone knows this marriage is a joke. The only joke here is you thinking you'll get away with attempted murder," Tasha said flatly. Patricia's expression faltered just for a second. "Careful what you accuse people of. Slander is actionable. Truth is a defense," Harrison said calmly. "And we have plenty of truth." Patricia's eyes narrowed. She looked at the documents on the table, clearly trying to see what evidence they had. "You can't prove anything. And even if you could, Victor has the board in his pocket." Gabriel's finished. "He just doesn't know it yet." Gabriel wheeled himself forward until he was directly in front of Patricia. Even sitting in his wheelchair, something about his presence was intimidating. He typed slowly, each word deliberate. "You tried to kill me. You planted a bomb in my car. You thought I'd die quickly and you could steal everything I built. But I didn't die. And now I'm going to take everything from you instead. Your job. Your reputation. Your freedom. Friday is your last day of walking around like you won. After that, you'll spend the next 20 years in prison thinking about what you did." Patricia's face went pale, then red. "You're delusional. The bombing was investigated. They never found who did it. You have no proof." "I have security footage," Gabriel typed. "I have your emails. I have Victor's financial records. I have witnesses. I have everything. And on Friday the whole board will see it. Along with the federal agents who'll be waiting to arrest you both." For a moment, Patricia looked genuinely frightened. Then her expression hardened. "You're bluffing. If you had real evidence, you would have gone to the police months ago." "I was building an airtight case," Gabriel typed. "I wanted to make sure you couldn't weasel out of it. Now I'm done building. Now I'm ready to destroy you." Patricia backed toward the door, her confidence cracking. "Victor won't let this happen. He has contingencies." "So do I," Gabriel typed. "Get out of my house." Patricia left, her heels clicking sharply on the marble floors. After she was gone, Harrison let out a low whistle. "That was either very smart or very stupid. You just warn them you have evidence." "Good," Gabriel typed. "Now they'll panic and make mistakes. Panic people do desperate things. Desperate things leave trails. I want them to panic." Tasha shook her head in amazement. "You're playing chess while they're playing checkers." "I've been playing this game for 6 months," Gabriel typed. "They're just now realizing they're even on the board." That evening, after Harrison left and the documents were safely locked away, Tasha and Gabriel sat together in the sunroom. The sky outside was deep purple, stars beginning to appear. Mrs. Chin had brought them dinner, but neither of them had much appetite. "Are you scared?" Tasha asked quietly. Gabriel typed, "Terrified. But I can't show it. The moment they see fear, I lose. I'm scared too. Not for me but for you. If they're desperate enough, they might try something before the meeting. They might. That's why Lucas has arranged extra security. And why I'm asking you to stay close to the house until Friday. I'm not hiding. I'm not asking you to hide. I'm asking you to be smart. These people tried to kill me once. I won't risk them hurting you to get to me." Tasha felt warmth spread through her chest. "You're protecting me. You're my wife. Of course I'm protecting you. The contract doesn't require you to care about my safety." Gabriel looked at her directly, his dark eyes intense. He typed slowly, "This stopped being just a contract the moment you stood up to Victor and Patricia at our wedding. This became something real. I don't know exactly what it is yet, but it matters. You matter. And I protect what matters to me." Tasha's breath caught. They'd been married less than 2 weeks, but somewhere in the middle of morning coffee and therapy sessions and planning corporate warfare, they'd become something more than business associates. She wasn't sure what to call it, but Gabriel was right. It was real. "We're going to win on Friday," Tasha said firmly. "They don't get to destroy you. Not after everything you've survived." Gabriel almost smiled. "Together?" "Together," Tasha agreed. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars appear one by one in the darkening sky. Tomorrow they would prepare more. Friday they would fight. But tonight they had each other, and that was enough. Wednesday morning arrived with unexpected sunshine. Tasha woke early feeling restless. The board meeting was only 2 days away, and the tension in the house was palpable. Lucas moved with military precision, coordinating security details. Harrison had called twice before breakfast with updates on the federal investigation. Even Mrs. Chin seemed subdued, preparing meals with quiet efficiency instead of her usual cheerful humming. Tasha found Gabriel in the therapy room with Donna, working through his morning exercises. She stood in the doorway, watching as he gripped the parallel bars and forced his legs to support his weight. His face was tight with concentration, sweat soaking through his red t-shirt despite the cool air conditioning. "That's it," Donna encouraged. 5 more steps. You're stronger than you were yesterday." Gabriel moved forward slowly, his arms shaking with effort, his jaw clenched so hard Tasha could see the muscles jumping. 1 step. 2. 3. On the 4th step, his right knee buckled. Donna caught him immediately, easing him back into the wheelchair with practiced efficiency. "Good work," Donna said. "You're building endurance. That's the hardest part." Gabriel reached for his tablet, breathing hard. "Not good enough." "It's better than last week," Donna countered. "Stop measuring yourself against who you were before. Measure against who you were yesterday. That's the only comparison that matters." After Donna left, Tasha brought Gabriel a towel and a bottle of water. He took them without looking at her, his frustration evident in every line of his body. "Talk to me," Tasha said, sitting on the exercise mat. "Nothing to talk about. You're angry. Obviously. At Victor? At yourself? At the universe in general?" Gabriel took a long drink of water, then typed, "All of the above. I used to be strong. Now I can barely walk across a room. Friday I have to face the board and convince them I'm still capable of leading the company. How am I supposed to do that when I can't even stand without shaking?" "You do it with your brain, not your body," Tasha said. "You built this company with intelligence and strategy. Your legs don't make decisions. Your mind does. And your mind is sharper than Victor's will ever be. But perception matters. They'll see the wheelchair and think weak. They'll see me struggle and think incapable. Then we change their perception. You roll into that meeting like you own the room because you do. You present your evidence calmly and clearly. You show them that being in a wheelchair doesn't make you less dangerous, it makes you more focused. You spent 6 months watching and learning and planning while everyone underestimated you. That's power, not weakness." Gabriel stared at her. "You really believe that?" "I know that. I've watched you this past week. You're the smartest person I've ever met. You see patterns others miss. You think 5 steps ahead of everyone else. Victor might have working legs, but you have something better. You have patience and strategy and the absolute determination to win. That's going to carry you through Friday." Gabriel typed slowly, "Why do you have so much faith in me? Because I've seen you refuse to give up even when giving up would be easier. I've seen you work through pain that would destroy most people. I've seen you plan and strategize and build a case that's going to put your enemies in prison. That's not faith. That's observation. Gabriel's expression softened slightly. He typed, "I'm glad you're here." "Me too." Tasha's phone buzzed. A video call from Riverside Cancer Institute. She answered quickly and her mother's face filled the screen. Beverly looked better than she had in months, her skin healthier, her eyes brighter. "Hi baby," Beverly said warmly. "Just wanted to check in. The doctors say I'm responding really well to treatment. The tumors are shrinking." Tasha felt tears sting her eyes. "Mom, that's amazing. It's because of you. Because you did whatever you had to do to get me the care I needed. I'm proud of you, Tasha. So proud." Gabriel wheeled closer, positioning himself where Beverly could see him on the screen. Beverly's eyes widened slightly. "Mrs. Morgan," Gabriel typed and Tasha read aloud for him. "I'm glad the treatment is working. Your daughter is extraordinary. You raised her well." Beverly smiled, genuine warmth in her expression. "Mr. Thornton, thank you for taking care of my girl. And thank you for helping our family. We won't forget that kindness." "Your daughter has helped me far more than I've helped her," Gabriel typed and Tasha read. After the call ended, Tasha wiped her eyes. "Sorry? I don't usually cry this much." "Don't apologize," Gabriel typed. "You're allowed to feel things. You've been strong for your family for years. Sometimes strength looks like tears." Tasha looked at him, this complicated man who hid vulnerability behind silence and strategy. "Can I tell you something?" Gabriel nodded. "When I first came here, I thought this arrangement would be simple. Take the money, do the job, keep my distance emotionally. But that's not what's happening. Every day I learn something new about you. Every day you surprise me. And now we're facing this huge battle together, and I realize I actually care what happens to you. Not because of the contract. Just because I do." Gabriel's eyes searched her face. He typed carefully, "I care what happens to you too. This started as business. But somewhere along the way it became something else. I'm not sure what to call it yet. How about friendship?" Tasha suggested. "That's a start," Gabriel typed. Then after a pause he added, "But it might become more. If you're open to that possibility." Tasha's heart beat faster. "I might be. But let's survive Friday first. We can figure out the complicated feelings after we destroy your enemies." Gabriel smiled, a real, genuine smile that transformed his whole face. "Deal." That afternoon, Nia visited, taking a break from her nursing classes. She arrived in a bright green dress, looking healthier and happier than Tasha had seen her in years. The weight of working 3 jobs had lifted, replaced by the lightness that came from being able to focus on just one thing: her education. "This place is insane," Nia said, staring around the mansion. "You actually live here?" "I know. Still feels surreal sometimes." They sat in the garden while Gabriel worked in his study. Nia wanted every detail about the marriage, the arrangement, what Gabriel was really like behind closed doors. "He's good to you?" Nia asked, her protective instincts showing. "Because if he's not, contract or no contract, you leave. You hear me?" "He's good to me," Tasha assured her. "He's dealing with some complicated business stuff right now, but he's never been anything but respectful and kind. I think we're becoming actual friends." "Just friends?" "Mostly friends. Maybe something more eventually. It's complicated." Nia grinned. "So you like him?" "I didn't say that. You didn't have to. I can see it on your face. You're falling for your husband." "I'm not falling for anyone. I'm just getting to know someone interesting who happens to be in a challenging situation." "Ah, sure. Keep telling yourself that." Before Tasha could protest further, Lucas appeared. "Mrs. Thornton, Mr. Thornton would like to see you in his study. It's important." Tasha excused herself and followed Lucas inside. Gabriel was at his desk, his expression grim. Harrison was on speakerphone. "What's wrong?" Tasha asked. "Victor just filed an injunction," Harrison said. "He's trying to get the board meeting moved up to tomorrow morning instead of Friday. He claims Gabriel's deteriorating condition requires immediate action." "Can he do that?" "He can try. I've filed an opposition, but the judge might grant it. If the meeting happens tomorrow, we'll have less time to prepare." Gabriel typed rapidly, "Then we work through the night. I'm not letting Victor rush me into making mistakes." "Agreed," Harrison said. "I'll be there in an hour with the final evidence packages. We need to make sure every board member gets a complete set before the meeting, whether it's tomorrow or Friday." After Harrison hung up, Tasha pulled up a chair. "Tell me what to do. Help me organize the evidence presentation. We need it airtight. No gaps, no questions unanswered." If we're doing this tomorrow, it has to be perfect. They worked for hours. Nia left after hugging Tasha and making her promise to be careful. Mrs. Chen brought dinner to the study. Harrison arrived and spread more documents across every available surface. By midnight, they had everything organized into a devastating presentation that laid out Victor's crimes in excruciating detail. "This is going to destroy him," Harrison said with grim satisfaction. "No board member will vote to keep him after seeing this." Around 2 a.m. Harrison finally left. Tasha and Gabriel were alone in the study, exhausted but wired with nervous energy. "You should sleep," Gabriel typed. "Tomorrow might be difficult." "So should you." "I won't be able to. Too much adrenaline." Tasha understood. She felt the same way. "Can I tell you something that might sound strange?" Gabriel nodded. "I'm glad this is happening. Not the attempted murder part or the corporate backstabbing. But this fight. Because fighting together means something. It means we're partners in a way that goes beyond contracts and arrangements. We're trusting each other with things that matter. And that kind of trust is rare." Gabriel looked at her for a long moment. Then he wheeled his chair closer and reached out, gently taking her hand. His grip was warm and steady despite the tremor that usually plagued his fingers. "Thank you," he typed with his free hand. "For standing with me. For believing in me. For seeing me as more than my injuries. You've given me something I thought I'd lost forever." "What's that?" "Hope." Tasha squeezed his hand. They sat like that in the quiet study, surrounded by evidence of conspiracy and betrayal, holding on to each other in the darkness. Tomorrow they would fight. But tonight they had this moment of connection, this shared understanding that some bonds were forged in fire and came out stronger for it. And Tasha realized with startling clarity that she wasn't just falling for Gabriel Thornton. She'd already fallen. Somewhere between morning coffee and late-night planning sessions, somewhere between physical therapy encouragement and corporate warfare strategy, she'd started caring about him in a way that terrified and thrilled her in equal measure. This was supposed to be temporary. 1 year and done. But Tasha couldn't imagine walking away now. Not from this man. Not from this partnership. Not from whatever this was growing between them. She didn't say any of that out loud. It was too soon, too complicated, too much pressure on top of everything else they were dealing with. But she held his hand in the quiet study and let herself feel it. Let herself acknowledge that kindness had led her here, hope had sustained her, and love was beginning to bloom in the most unexpected place. And that was enough for now. Thursday morning arrived cold and gray. The judge had ruled in Victor's favor. The board meeting would happen today at 10 a.m. at company headquarters downtown. Gabriel, Tasha, Harrison, and Lucas were all awake before dawn, moving through the house with tense purpose. Tasha dressed carefully in a blue tailored suit that Lucas had arranged to be delivered yesterday. She wanted to look professional, capable, supportive. When she came downstairs, Gabriel was already in the foyer wearing a dark blue suit that fit him perfectly despite his seated position. He looked powerful, intimidating even, and Tasha felt a surge of pride and affection. "Ready?" she asked. Gabriel typed, "As ready as I'll ever be." The drive downtown took 40 minutes. Mr. Peterson drove while Lucas sat in the passenger seat, his phone constantly buzzing with updates. Harrison followed in his own car, briefcases full of evidence riding in the back seat. Tasha sat beside Gabriel in the spacious back seat of the SUV, her hand resting on his arm, offering silent support. "Whatever happens today," Tasha said quietly, "you're not alone. Remember that." Gabriel nodded, his jaw tight with tension. Thornton Industries headquarters was a gleaming glass tower in the financial district. They parked in the private garage and took the executive elevator directly to the 20th floor where the boardroom was located. Lucas had arranged for Gabriel's wheelchair to navigate everything smoothly, but Tasha still noticed the stares from employees as they passed. People pointing, whispering, watching with undisguised curiosity. The boardroom was massive, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city and a long table that could seat 30 people. Most of the board members were already present, talking in low voices, some looking uncomfortable, others openly hostile. Victor stood at the head of the table, his expression smug and confident. Patricia sat halfway down the table, her eyes cold as she watched Gabriel enter. "Gabriel," Victor said with false warmth. "So good of you to make it. I wasn't sure you'd be up for this." Gabriel wheeled himself to his usual seat at the table, with Tasha taking the chair immediately beside him. Harrison sat on his other side, opening his briefcases with calm efficiency. "Let's begin," said board member Martin Sheffield, a gray-haired man in his 70s who'd been with the company since the early days. Victor, you called this emergency meeting. The floor is yours. Victor stood, commanding the room with practiced ease. Thank you, Martin. I'll be direct. We're here to discuss Gabriel's capacity to continue as CEO. 6 months ago, he was nearly killed in a tragic car bombing. Since then, he's been unable to work from the office, unable to attend meetings in person, unable to perform basic functions required of a CEO. I've brought medical experts who can testify to his condition. A doctor Tasha didn't recognize stood and began explaining Gabriel's injuries in clinical detail, painting a picture of severe disability and cognitive impairment. It was lies wrapped in medical jargon, but several board members nodded along, buying the narrative. Furthermore, Victor continued, Gabriel's recent marriage appears to be a desperate attempt to seem stable. But marrying a woman he barely knows doesn't demonstrate sound judgment. It demonstrates panic. This company needs strong, decisive leadership. Gabriel can no longer provide that. I'm calling for a vote to remove him as CEO and install new leadership. I nominate myself as his replacement. Patricia stood. I second the nomination. Martin looked uncomfortable. Gabriel, do you have a response? Gabriel reached for his tablet, but his hands were shaking badly, whether from nerves or the physical strain of the morning, Tasha couldn't tell. She gently covered his hand with hers, steadying him. He typed slowly. I have a great deal to say. And evidence to support everything. Harrison stood. Before we vote on anything, the board needs to see what we've discovered. Mr. Thornton has been conducting an investigation into financial irregularities within the company. The findings are disturbing and directly relevant to today's discussion. Victor's confident expression faltered slightly. What investigation? There's no investigation. There is, Gabriel typed. And it's been ongoing for 8 months. Harrison, present the evidence. Harrison opened his first briefcase and began distributing thick folders to each board member. What you're looking at is comprehensive documentation of embezzlement, fraud, and conspiracy. Over the past 3 years, Victor Chin has been stealing from this company through fake vendor contracts and offshore accounts. The total amount is approximately $12 million. His accomplice was Patricia Thornton, who helped facilitate the transfers through her position in the financial department. The boardroom erupted. People flipping through folders, gasping at what they saw. Victor's face went red. This is ridiculous. These are fabricated documents designed to discredit me. They're real, Harrison said calmly. And the federal investigators who are currently waiting outside can confirm their authenticity. Patricia stood, her voice shrill. You can't prove any of this. It's his word against ours. It's not my word, Gabriel typed. It's bank records, emails, security footage, and witness testimony. It's evidence that will hold up in court. Which is where you'll both be going after today. Martin Sheffield looked stunned as he read through the documents. Victor, these emails have your name on them. These accounts show money being transferred. It's a setup, Victor said desperately. Gabriel is trying to frame me because he knows he's lost the board's confidence. Is that why you tried to kill him? Tasha asked, her voice cutting through the chaos. Every head turned toward her. Victor's eyes narrowed. Excuse me? Tasha stood, her voice steady and clear. You planted a bomb in Gabriel's car 6 months ago. You tried to murder him so you could steal his company and hide your crimes. But he survived. And now you're trying to finish the job by having him declared incompetent. That's slander, Patricia hissed. You can't prove any of that. Actually, Harrison said, pulling out another folder, we can. We have security footage from the parking garage showing Victor entering it the night before the bombing. We have phone records showing calls between Victor and known criminals who specialize in explosives. We have financial transfers to those same criminals. And we have testimony from Gabriel's driver, who saw Victor near Gabriel's car that evening. The boardroom went silent. Victor's face was pale now, his confident facade crumbling. He looked around the table, seeing shock and disgust on every face. This is impossible, Victor said, his voice breaking. You can't. I didn't. You did. Gabriel typed, his fingers steady now. You tried to kill me. You failed. And now everyone knows the truth. You're finished, Victor. And so are you, Patricia. The boardroom doors opened. 4 federal agents in suits walked in, led by a woman who introduced herself as Agent Michelle Rodriguez. Victor Chin, Patricia Thornton, you're both under arrest for embezzlement, conspiracy, and attempted murder. Please stand and place your hands behind your back. Victor looked like he might run. Patricia was openly crying. But there was nowhere to go. The agents moved efficiently, cuffing them both while reading their rights. The board members sat frozen, watching the scene unfold like a nightmare. As the agents led Victor and Patricia toward the door, Victor turned to look at Gabriel. You think you've won? You're still broken. Still trapped in that wheelchair. I might go to prison, but you'll never be whole again. Gabriel wheeled himself forward until he was directly in front of Victor. Then, slowly and deliberately, he gripped the arms of his wheelchair and began to push himself up. Tasha moved to his side instantly, ready to catch him if he fell, but Gabriel waved her back. You wanted to do this alone. With visible effort and obvious pain, Gabriel stood. His legs shook. His arms trembled. But he stood, taller than Victor, looking down at the man who'd tried to destroy him. You're wrong, Gabriel said, his voice rough and unused but clear. I'm getting stronger every day. Soon I won't need this wheelchair at all. But even if I did, I'd still be worth more than you. Because I didn't become a monster to get what I wanted. I worked for it. I earned it. And I'll still have everything when you're rotting in a cell. The boardroom gasped. Several people started clapping. Victor's face crumpled, and the agents pulled him toward the door. Gabriel's legs gave out. Tasha caught him, lowering him gently back into the wheelchair. He was breathing hard, sweat soaking through his shirt, but his eyes were bright with triumph. The agents took Victor and Patricia away. The doors closed. And the remaining board members erupted in conversation, shocked and impressed and uncertain how to proceed. Martin Sheffield called for order. Well, that was certainly dramatic. Gabriel, I think I speak for all of us when I say we owe you an apology. We should have trusted you. We should have investigated Victor ourselves when the embezzlement first became apparent. Apology accepted, Gabriel typed. Now let's get back to running this company properly. The vote was unanimous. Gabriel would remain as CEO. A forensic audit would review all of Victor's work. Patricia's entire department would be investigated. New safeguards would be put in place to prevent future fraud. After the meeting, Gabriel and Tasha rode the elevator down in silence. When they reached the parking garage, Gabriel suddenly reached out and pulled Tasha close, hugging her tightly despite his seated position. Thank you, he said aloud, his voice still rough but getting stronger. I couldn't have done this without you. Tasha hugged him back, relief and joy flooding through her. We did it together. Together, Gabriel agreed. On the drive home, Tasha called her mother and Nia, telling them everything. They were ecstatic, proud, amazed by the entire story. When Tasha hung up, she found Gabriel watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. What? She asked. Gabriel typed, I love the way you light up when you talk to your family. It reminds me that good people exist. That kindness matters. That I made the right choice when I chose you. Tasha felt her cheeks warm. You're getting sentimental on me. Maybe. Or maybe I'm just grateful. Either way, thank you for standing beside me today. Thank you for believing in me when everyone else had written me off. Thank you for being exactly who you are. Tasha took his hand. You're welcome. But Gabriel, you did the hard part. You gathered the evidence. You planned the trap. You stood up when it mattered most. I just helped keep you steady. That's everything, Gabriel said, speaking aloud again because his voice was getting stronger with use. Keeping someone steady is everything. They rode the rest of the way home in comfortable silence, hands linked, both of them processing the magnitude of what had just happened. Victor and Patricia were going to prison. Gabriel's company was safe. His reputation was restored. The enemies who'd tried to destroy him were destroyed instead. Justice had won. Truth had won. Hope had won. And somewhere in the middle of it all, two people who'd started as strangers had become something neither of them could quite name yet, but both of them could feel growing stronger every day. The evening after the board meeting, the mansion felt different. Lighter somehow, as if Victor and Patricia's arrest had lifted a physical weight from the air. Tasha found Gabriel in the sunroom, watching the sunset through the floor-to-ceiling windows. He was still in his wheelchair, his body clearly exhausted from the day's efforts, but his expression was peaceful. Mind if I join you? Tasha asked from the doorway. Gabriel gestured to the chair beside him. Please. Tasha sat, and for several minutes they watched the sky turn from orange to pink to deep purple. The silence between them felt comfortable, companionable, the silence of two people who'd fought a war together and survived. How are you feeling? Tasha finally asked. Sore. Tired. Relieved. Gabriel paused, then added, happy. Happy looks good on you. It feels strange. I've been angry for so long, I almost forgot what anything else feels like. What happens now? With the company, I mean. Gabriel leaned back in his wheelchair. I'll need to rebuild the board's trust. Show them I can lead effectively despite my limitations. The forensic audit will take months. We'll need to hire new financial staff to replace everyone Patricia corrupted. It's going to be exhausting work. But you'll do it. I'll do it. Because that's what I built this company for. Not just to make money but to prove that doing business ethically can still be profitable. Victor wanted to cut corners, exploit people, maximize profit at any cost. I wanted to build something sustainable and fair. Now I get to prove my way was right all along. Tasha smiled. See? Happy and righteous. What's next? You'll start volunteering at soup kitchens. Gabriel almost laughed. Don't push it. But actually, I've been thinking about something. All that money Victor stole, once we recover it through asset forfeiture, I want to put it toward a foundation. Something that helps families dealing with catastrophic medical debt. Families like yours. Tasha's breath caught. Gabriel, that's the right thing to do. You showed me how devastating medical debt can be. How it destroys families through no fault of their own. How people like your mother work their whole lives helping others and then get crushed by the very system they served. If I can use my resources to fix that even for a few people, maybe Victor's betrayal will have accomplished something good after all. You're going to make me cry again. Good tears or bad tears? The best kind. The grateful kind. They sat together as darkness fell completely, the garden lights coming on automatically, casting everything in soft white light. Mrs. Chen brought them dinner on trays since neither of them wanted to move, and they ate while discussing plans for the foundation, ideas for improving company culture, dreams for a future that felt possible now instead of impossibly far away. Around 9, Gabriel's phone rang. Harrison reporting that Victor and Patricia had been formally charged with multiple felonies. Both were denied bail due to flight risk. The trial would likely happen in 6 months. It's really over, Tasha said after Gabriel hung up. They're actually going to prison. Justice moves slowly but it moves. They'll pay for what they did. Do you feel better knowing that? Does revenge satisfy you? Gabriel considered the question carefully. It's not revenge exactly. It's accountability. They tried to kill me. They stole from the company. They hurt people. Consequences matter. Without consequences, evil people just keep doing evil things. But does it make you happy? No. What makes me happy is building something good instead of tearing something down. What makes me happy is sitting here with you, planning a foundation that will actually help people. What makes me happy is knowing I'm getting stronger every day. Revenge is cold. What we're doing here, this is warm. Tasha reached over and took his hand. You're a good man, Gabriel Thornton. I'm trying to be. You make it easier. How? You see the best in people. You believe in kindness even when the world gives you every reason not to. You remind me that being ruthless isn't the same as being strong. That showing mercy isn't weakness. That caring about people matters more than winning. Someone wise taught me that. Her name was Beverly Morgan. She raised 2 daughters alone after her husband died, worked as a nurse for 30 years, and never once complained about how unfair life was. She just kept showing up, kept caring, kept loving. If I'm good, it's because she taught me how to be. I'd like to meet her properly someday. Not just on video calls. When she's recovered enough, bring her here. Let her see that you're safe and happy. Let her see that the sacrifice you made for her led somewhere good. I'd like that. She'd like that too. Mrs. Chin appeared in the doorway. Excuse me, Mr. Thornton, Mrs. Thornton. You have visitors. Miss Nia Morgan and 2 gentlemen who say they're from Channel 7 News. Gabriel frowned. I didn't arrange any interviews. Lucas appeared behind Mrs. Chin. Sir, they say Victor Chin contacted them before his arrest. He claimed you were being fraudulent about your injuries. They want to verify the truth. I can send them away if you prefer. Gabriel looked at Tasha. What do you think? I think transparency is your friend right now. If Victor was spreading lies, let's correct them with the truth. Gabriel nodded. Send them to the study. Give us 5 minutes to get there. While Lucas showed the news crew to the study, Tasha helped Gabriel straighten his clothes and wipe the exhaustion from his face. Nia burst into the sunroom, breathless and excited. Tasha, there's news trucks outside. What's happening? Victor tried to discredit Gabriel before getting arrested. We're about to set the record straight. Want to watch? Absolutely. They made their way to the study, where 2 men with camera equipment were setting up lights and sound. A woman in a red blazer introduced herself as Amanda Chin, no relation to Victor. Mr. Thornton, thank you for seeing us on such short notice. We received disturbing information from Victor Chin this morning before his arrest. He claimed you've been fabricating your injuries to gain sympathy and that your recent marriage was a publicity stunt to seem capable of leading your company. Can you respond to these allegations? Gabriel gestured for them to follow him. He wheeled himself to the therapy room, where Donna's equipment was still set up. The camera crew followed, filming everything. I'm not fabricating anything, Gabriel said clearly, his voice stronger now after hours of use. 6 months ago, a bomb planted in my car by Victor Chin nearly killed me. I spent 3 months in the hospital. The doctor said I'd never walk again. But I've been working every day with my physical therapist to regain strength and mobility. Watch. He positioned himself at the parallel bars and began the painstaking process of standing and walking. Tasha stood nearby, not helping but present, her expression proud. The cameras recorded every difficult step, every moment of visible pain, every ounce of determination in Gabriel's face. He made it 6 steps before his legs gave out. Tasha caught him, and together they got him back into the wheelchair. Gabriel was breathing hard, sweat dripping down his face, but he looked directly at the camera. That's where I am right now. Not faking. Not fabricating. Just recovering. And I will recover fully no matter how long it takes. As for my marriage being a publicity stunt, that's insulting to my wife and untrue. Tasha Morgan Thornton is the most genuine person I've ever met. She married me when I was at my lowest point. She stood beside me when everyone else had written me off. She helped me expose Victor's crimes and bring him to justice. Our marriage might have started as a contract, but it's become something real. Something valuable. Something I'm grateful for every day. Amanda Chen looked genuinely moved. Can you tell our viewers what you want them to know about this situation? I want them to know that disability doesn't equal helplessness. I want them to know that people in wheelchairs are still capable of leading, thinking, loving, fighting back. I want them to know that when someone tries to destroy you, you have a choice. You can let them win or you can refuse to stay down. I chose the second option. And I hope anyone watching who's facing their own battles chooses the same. The interview continued for another 20 minutes. Gabriel explained the embezzlement, the bombing, the investigation, the arrest. He was clear, articulate, compelling. Amanda asked tough questions and Gabriel answered them honestly. Tasha could see the story taking shape, the narrative shifting from disabled CEO struggling to determined leader who refused to be defeated. After the news crew left, Nia threw her arms around Gabriel's neck, hugging him tightly. You're my hero. That was incredible. Gabriel looked startled by the enthusiasm but pleased. Thank you, Nia. Seriously, you're like a movie character. Rich guy gets blown up by bad guy, slowly recovers, gathers evidence, takes down bad guy in dramatic courtroom scene, gives inspiring speech about overcoming adversity. That's Oscar material. Gabriel actually laughed, a real, full laugh that transformed his face. I don't think the Academy awards non-fiction. They should. This is better than any movie. After Nia left, promising to visit again soon with their mother once Beverly was strong enough, Tasha and Gabriel returned to the sunroom. The night was fully dark now, stars visible through the windows, the garden lit like something from a dream. Today was a lot, Tasha said, settling into her chair. Too much. No. Just right actually. Justice happened. Truth came out. You got to show the world who you really are. That's a good day. Gabriel reached out and took her hand, his grip warm and steady. None of this would have happened without you. You gave me the strength to fight back. You made me believe I was worth fighting for. You were always worth fighting for. You just needed someone to remind you. I'm glad it was you. They sat like that for a long time, hands linked, watching the stars, neither of them quite ready to say out loud what they were both beginning to feel. The contract still had months left on it, but both of them knew it didn't matter anymore. This wasn't about contracts or arrangements or business deals. This was about two people who'd found each other in the midst of chaos and discovered something rare and valuable. Hope had brought them together. Kindness had sustained them. And love, quiet and growing and undeniable, was beginning to bloom between them like something inevitable and right. But they didn't say it yet. They just held hands in the starlight and let themselves feel it, safe in the knowledge that some things didn't need words to be real. Friday morning, 2 days after the arrests, Tasha woke to the sound of movement in the hallway outside her bedroom. It was barely dawn, the sky just beginning to lighten. She pulled on a robe and opened her door to find Gabriel, not in his wheelchair but using a walker, slowly making his way down the hall. Gabriel? She hurried to his side. What are you doing? Where's your wheelchair? Testing, he said, his voice strained but determined. Donna said I'm strong enough to try the walker full time. I wanted to see if I could make it to the sunroom by myself. You should have asked for help. I need to do some things alone. Otherwise I'll never know if I'm really recovering or just relying on others to carry me. Tasha understood the impulse even as she worried about him falling. She walked beside him, close enough to catch him but not touching, letting him have his independence while providing safety. They moved slowly down the hallway, Gabriel's breathing labored but steady, his grip on the walker tight. It took 15 minutes to reach the sunroom, a journey that would have taken a healthy person 30 seconds. But when Gabriel finally lowered himself into his favorite chair by the windows, the triumph on his face made every difficult step worth it. I did it, he said, breathing hard. I walked all the way from my bedroom. You did. I'm proud of you. It's not much. Most people wouldn't think twice about walking down a hallway. Most people didn't survive a car bombing 6 months ago. Most people weren't told they'd never walk again. You're not most people, Gabriel. Stop comparing yourself to them. He smiled, exhausted but genuine. You're good at the pep talks. Years of practice with my mom during her first cancer scare when I was 16. She was so depressed, so certain she'd die. I had to remind her daily that she was strong enough to survive. Eventually she started believing it. Now she's in remission again, and I get to do the same thing for you. I'm not sure I deserve your faith. Deserve has nothing to do with it. You have it anyway. Mrs. Chen brought breakfast, exclaiming over Gabriel's accomplishment and immediately calling Donna to share the good news. The physical therapist arrived an hour early, thrilled to see Gabriel using the walker independently. This is excellent progress, Donna said, examining his gait and stability. If you keep improving at this rate, you might be walking independently without any aids within 3 months. Maybe sooner. How soon? Gabriel asked. Depends on how hard you work. But I've never seen someone more determined than you. If anyone can beat the timeline, you can. After Donna's session, Gabriel and Tasha spent the morning in his study, reviewing the company's recovery plans. The board had voted to implement all of Gabriel's proposed reforms. Employee benefits were being expanded. Ethical oversight committees were being established. The company culture was shifting from ruthless profit-seeking to sustainable growth with employee welfare prioritized. It's like starting over, Gabriel said, scrolling through the proposals. Building the company I always wanted it to be. That's a good thing. It is. But it's also exhausting. Sometimes I miss the simplicity of just making money. This ethical approach requires so much more effort. But it's better. Not just morally but practically. Happy employees work harder. Ethical companies attract better talent. You're building something that will last because it's built on solid ground, not exploitation. When did you become a business expert? I'm not. I'm a common sense expert. And common sense says treating people well leads to better results than treating them like disposable resources. Gabriel smiled. I should hire you as my ethics consultant. You already hired me as your wife. One job at a time. About that, Gabriel said, his expression turning serious. He set aside his work and wheeled his chair closer to Tasha. We need to talk about the contract. Tasha's heart sank. What about it? It expires in 10 months. I want to know if you're planning to leave when it does. Do you want me to leave? No. But I need to know what you want. Because this started as a business arrangement and we both agreed to that. But it's become something else. At least for me. I need to know if you feel the same way or if I'm misreading everything. Tasha took a breath. This was the conversation she'd been both hoping for and dreading. What has it become for you? Gabriel reached for his tablet, typed carefully, then showed her. Something I don't want to end. Something that makes me happy in ways I didn't think were possible anymore. Something real and valuable and worth keeping. You. Tasha felt tears sting her eyes. I feel the same way. This wasn't supposed to be complicated. I was supposed to take your money, do the job, walk away with no attachments. But I couldn't do that. Somewhere between breakfast conversations and physical therapy sessions and corporate warfare planning, I started caring about you. Really caring. Not because of the contract but because of who you are. So you'll stay? After the contract expires? If you want me to. But Gabriel, I need to know something first. Is this about convenience? About having someone reliable around? Or is this about actual feelings? Gabriel set aside his tablet and took both of Tasha's hands in his. It's about feelings. Real feelings. The kind that sneak up on you when you're not paying attention. The kind that make you want to be better, do better, try harder. You make me want to be the person you seem to think I am. That's not convenience. That's something much deeper. What are we calling this thing between us? I don't know yet. But I know I don't want to lose it. Or you. Tasha leaned forward and kissed him softly. It was their first kiss, gentle and tentative and full of promise. When she pulled back, Gabriel was staring at her with wonder. I've wanted to do that for weeks, Tasha admitted. But I wasn't sure if you felt the same way. I felt the same way since you stood up to Victor and Patricia at our wedding. Maybe even before that. You're remarkable, Tasha. And I'm grateful every day that you said yes to this crazy arrangement. Best decision I ever made. They spent the rest of the day together, not working but talking, sharing stories from their pasts, learning about each other beyond the surface details. Gabriel told her about growing up poor in Chicago, his single mother working 3 jobs to keep them housed, his determination to build something that would give him security. Tasha told him about her father's death, her mother's strength, Nia's dreams of becoming a nurse like Beverly. By evening, they felt less like strangers who'd accidentally built a partnership and more like 2 people who'd chosen each other deliberately and completely. That night, after dinner, Gabriel asked Tasha to help him with something in his bedroom. She followed him down the hall, where he pulled a small box from his nightstand drawer. What's that? Tasha asked. Gabriel opened the box to reveal 2 wedding rings. Simple gold bands, elegantly designed, clearly expensive but not ostentatious. We got married without rings, Gabriel said. It seemed appropriate at the time since it was just a contract. But now I want to do this properly. Will you wear my ring? And let me wear yours. Tasha felt emotion well up in her chest. Yes, absolutely yes. Gabriel slipped the smaller ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly, catching the light, feeling warm and right. Then Tasha took the larger ring and placed it on Gabriel's finger, sealing whatever they were building together with a symbol that felt more meaningful than any contract. Now it's real, Gabriel said softly. It was always real. This just makes it official. They stood there in Gabriel's bedroom, wearing matching rings, both of them aware that they'd crossed some invisible line from business arrangement to actual marriage. It should have felt frightening, this shift into unplanned territory. But instead it felt right, like coming home after a long journey. Stay with me tonight, Gabriel said. Not for anything physical. Just stay. I don't want to be alone anymore. Okay, Tasha agreed. They lay together in Gabriel's enormous bed, fully clothed, just holding each other in the darkness. Tasha felt Gabriel's heartbeat against her cheek, steady and strong. She felt his arms around her, protective and warm. And she felt something else, something she'd been trying not to name but couldn't ignore anymore. She was falling in love with her husband. Maybe she'd already fallen. And from the way Gabriel held her, gentle and sure, she thought maybe he'd fallen too. They didn't say it out loud. Not yet. But the feeling was there, growing between them like something inevitable and beautiful. They'd started as strangers brought together by desperation and opportunity. They'd become partners through shared battles and mutual respect. And now they were becoming something more, something neither of them had planned but both of them wanted. Hope had led them here. Kindness had sustained them. And love, quiet and patient and undeniable, was making them into something stronger together than either of them could be alone. Tasha fell asleep listening to Gabriel's breathing, his arms around her, her ring catching the moonlight from the window. Tomorrow they would face whatever challenges came next. But tonight, they had this perfect moment of peace and connection and belonging. And that was enough. 3 months passed like a dream. The kind of dream where everything changes slowly but definitively, where each day brings small miracles that add up to transformation. Gabriel was walking now. Not perfectly, not without occasional struggles, but walking. He used a cane instead of a wheelchair, his limp barely noticeable to anyone who hadn't watched his journey from paralysis to mobility. Donna had reduced her visits to twice weekly, mainly to provide encouragement and ensure he didn't push too hard. Gabriel had pushed anyway, driven by the same determination that had built his company, and his body had responded. Tasha watched him move through the house with growing confidence and felt pride swell in her chest every single time. He was still her Gabriel, stubborn and brilliant and occasionally impossible, but now he moved through the world like someone who'd conquered death and refused to be impressed by smaller obstacles. The company was thriving. The forensic audit had recovered most of Victor's stolen money, which Gabriel had immediately placed into the foundation he'd established, the Beverly Morgan Medical Relief Fund, named after Tasha's mother. The foundation paid off medical debt for families in crisis, gave grants to hospitals treating uninsured patients, and funded cancer research. In just 3 months, it had helped over 300 families escape the kind of crushing debt that had nearly destroyed Tasha's family. Beverly herself was in full remission. Her doctors at Riverside called it remarkable, though Beverly insisted she'd always been tough. She'd moved into a smaller, more manageable apartment near Nia's nursing school, no longer exhausting herself with work, instead focusing on recovery and spending time with her daughters. Nia had finished her first year of nursing school with perfect grades. She visited the mansion regularly, sometimes bringing classmates who wanted to meet the famous Gabriel Thornton, sometimes coming alone to hang out with Tasha and eat Mrs. Chen's incredible cooking. She and Gabriel had developed an easy friendship, with Nia teasing him relentlessly and Gabriel pretending to be annoyed while clearly enjoying the attention. Victor and Patricia's trial had ended 2 weeks ago. Both were convicted on all counts: embezzlement, conspiracy, attempted murder. Victor received 25 years. Patricia got 15. The sentencing had been covered extensively by the media, with Gabriel declining to give triumphant statements and instead simply saying he was grateful for justice and ready to move forward. And through all of it, Tasha and Gabriel had grown closer. The contract still had 7 months remaining, but neither of them talked about it anymore. They'd moved past business arrangements into something deeper, something that looked like a real marriage built on respect and affection and growing love. They hadn't said, "I love you," yet. Both of them danced around the words, showing their feelings through actions instead. Gabriel bought Tasha a new car when her old one finally died. Tasha learned to cook Gabriel's favorite meals, taking lessons from Mrs. Chen. They spent evenings reading together in the sunroom, mornings having coffee before Gabriel left for the office, nights talking until they fell asleep in each other's arms. It was domestic and comfortable and exactly what neither of them had known they needed. But Gabriel had a plan. He'd been planning it for weeks, working with Lucas and Harrison and even Nia to arrange something special. Today was the day. "Get dressed," Gabriel said to Tasha over breakfast. "Something nice. We're going somewhere." "Where?" "You'll see. Trust me." Tasha dressed in a green sundress, comfortable but elegant. Gabriel wore khaki pants and a maroon button-down shirt, looking handsome and healthy and happy. They drove to the coast, about 2 hours from the city, Gabriel behind the wheel because he could drive again now, his adapted vehicle making it easy despite his residual leg weakness. They arrived at a beach house, modern and beautiful, with enormous windows facing the ocean. Tasha had never been here before. "What is this?" she asked. "Our place. I bought it last month. I wanted somewhere we could escape to when the city gets too loud. Somewhere private. Somewhere just for us." Tasha felt tears prick her eyes. "Gabriel, you didn't have to do this." "I know. I wanted to." "Come on, there's more." He led her inside, where the entire downstairs was one open space. Kitchen, living room, dining area, all flowing together with views of the ocean. But that's not what made Tasha gasp. On the deck outside, a table was set for dinner. Candles flickered in the afternoon breeze. Flowers overflowed from vases. And standing nearby were Beverly and Nia, both grinning widely. "Mom? Nia? What are you doing here?" "Your husband invited us," Beverly said, walking over to hug Tasha tightly. "He said he had something important to ask you and he wanted your family present." Tasha turned to Gabriel, her heart racing. "What's going on?" Gabriel took her hand and led her out to the deck. The ocean crashed below them, the afternoon sun painting everything gold. He stood without his cane, steady and sure, his hands warm around hers. "Tasha Morgan Thornton," he began, his voice clear and strong. 10 months ago I offered you a contract. A business arrangement. Money in exchange for your help and presence. You said yes because you needed to save your mother. I said yes because I needed someone who saw me as human instead of broken. But somewhere between that contract and today something changed. You became more than an employee or a caretaker. You became my partner. My friend. My wife in every way that matters. Tasha's vision blurred with tears. "I don't want a contract anymore," Gabriel continued. "I don't want an arrangement with an expiration date. I want a real marriage with you. I want years and decades and a lifetime. I want to build a family together, create a home together, face whatever comes next together. So I'm asking you properly this time with your family present and the ocean as witness. Tasha, will you really marry me? Not for a contract, not for money, but because you want to spend your life with me the way I want to spend mine with you?" He pulled out a ring box and opened it. Inside was a stunning diamond ring, elegant and timeless, the kind of ring that spoke of love and commitment and forever. Tasha was crying now, happy tears streaming down her face. "Yes," she managed. "Yes, absolutely yes. I love you, Gabriel. I think I've loved you for months. I was just too scared to say it." "I love you too," Gabriel said, slipping the ring onto her finger next to her wedding band. "I've loved you since you stood up to Victor and Patricia. Maybe even before that. You saved my life, Tasha. Not by marrying me for money, but by seeing me when everyone else looked away. By believing in me when I'd stopped believing in myself. By teaching me that kindness and hope and love actually matter. Beverly was crying. Nia was crying. Even Lucas, who had appeared from inside the house with champagne, looked suspiciously misty-eyed. Gabriel pulled Tasha close and kissed her, right there on the deck with the ocean roaring below and her family watching and the sun setting in a blaze of orange and pink. It was a perfect moment, the kind that felt too good to be real but was happening anyway. When they finally broke apart, Nia whooped loudly. "That's my sister. That's what I'm talking about." They celebrated with dinner on the deck, Mrs. Chin having prepared an incredible feast and transported it to the beach house. They ate and laughed and told stories. Beverly recounted how terrified she'd been when Tasha first told her about the contract marriage, and how relieved she was to see it had turned into something beautiful. Nia teased Gabriel mercilessly about being romantic, claiming she'd never expected a ruthless CEO to have such a soft heart. "Tasha brought it out of me," Gabriel said, his arm around his wife's waist. "I was hard and angry and focused entirely on revenge. She showed me there were better things to focus on. Better ways to live." "You were never that hard," Tasha protested. "You just pretended to be because you were hurt and scared. The real you was always there, waiting for someone to see it." After dinner, Beverly and Nia left, giving Gabriel and Tasha privacy. They walked on the beach as the sun finished setting, waves washing over their bare feet, their hands linked. "I can't believe you did all this," Tasha said. "The house, the proposal, bringing my family. You deserve grand gestures. You deserve everything. I just wanted you. The rest is bonus." They stopped walking and stood facing each other in the fading light. Gabriel cupped Tasha's face in his hands, his touch gentle and sure. "Thank you," he said softly. "For saying yes 10 months ago when I offered you a deal. For staying when things got dangerous. For believing I was worth fighting for. For loving me despite everything. You changed my life completely, Tasha. You gave me reasons to heal, to fight back, to hope. You gave me a future I'd stopped believing in. I will spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret saying yes to me. I could never regret it. You saved my mother's life. You freed my sister from debt. You gave my family a future too. But more than that, you gave me partnership and respect and real love. You see me, Gabriel. The way I see you. That's rare and valuable and exactly what I needed even when I didn't know it." They kissed again, slower this time, savoring the moment. The ocean sang around them. The stars began appearing overhead. And two people who'd started as strangers brought together by desperation and opportunity stood on a beach and promised each other forever. Not because a contract required it. Not because money demanded it. But because love had grown between them, quiet and patient and undeniable, and love always found a way to win. Later, much later, they lay together in the beach house bedroom, windows open to let in the sound of waves, wrapped in each other's arms. "What do you think happens next?" Tasha asked sleepily. "Whatever we want," Gabriel said. "We build the life we choose. We run the company ethically. We expand the foundation. We help people the way we were helped. We travel. We grow. We become better versions of ourselves. Together." "That sounds perfect." "It will be. Because we'll make it that way. You and me facing everything as partners." "Partners?" Tasha agreed, her eyes drifting closed. "I like that." Gabriel held her as she fell asleep, feeling more content than he'd ever been in his life. He'd survived a car bomb, betrayal, months of paralysis and corporate warfare. He'd fought his way back from the edge of death and defeated his enemies. But his greatest victory wasn't any of those things. His greatest victory was the woman in his arms, who'd looked at him in his darkest moment and seen not a broken man but someone worth saving. Who'd stood beside him through every battle and never wavered. Who'd taught him that strength came in many forms, and sometimes the strongest thing you could do was accept help with grace and gratitude. Kindness had led them together. Hope had sustained them through the hard times. And love, the kind that grew slowly and steadily until it became unshakable, had given them both a future brighter than either of them had dared to dream. Gabriel kissed the top of Tasha's head and closed his eyes, grateful beyond words for the strange twist of fate that had brought them together. What started as a desperate contract had become the best decision of his life. And tomorrow, when they woke up, they would begin the rest of their lives together. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Because they'd chosen each other, completely and without reservation. Because love, real and true and hard won, had made them into something neither of them could be alone. Whole, healed, and home.